Beautiful bird.
Welcome. This is Glenn here again at Falcon Quest Birds of Prey. Have a little bit different video for us today. I'm going to be talking about pigeons. It's hard to really be involved in falconry and not be associated with pigeons. In fact, some people started getting into falconry because of pigeons. I myself, I'm one of those people. A long time ago, I had all kinds of different types of varieties of domesticated pigeons, and I like flying some of them. And on the slopes of the Rocky Mountains in Wyoming, the goshawks would come and get my birds. So I got to the point where if I can't beat them, I'll join them. So what I did is I kept pigeons, but I also moved into falconry. So pigeons and falconry tend to go together, especially for those people that are involved with falcons. Oftentimes pigeons are used to train falcons. But I actually like pigeons, and many falconers do like them. I myself fly these birds. These are homing pigeons. They're supposed to be racing homers, but they're not pedigreed racing homers. They're homers that don't have a pedigree. With regards to falconry and pigeons, there's a lot of information and a lot of misinformation about pigeons. Yes, they can carry some diseases, there's no doubt about that. But if kept and maintained properly, and they're domesticated pigeons, they generally tend to do very good if properly cared for. The key in that is this: cleanliness. Pigeons that are cooped up together, very tight spaces with very little circulation, a lot of feather dust, and having contact with feces is the setup for disaster. Once a pathogen gets into the coop, it will spread through all of the pigeons, and a person can actually lose all of their pigeons in a short period of time. Of course, those of us that use pigeons in falconry in one way or the other, we don't want pathogens to get into our birds of prey. That is why most falconers do not feed their pigeons to their birds. Now, as soon as I say that, there's a bunch of you going, well, what are you talking about? I've been feeding pigeons to my birds for years and years. Very true, and that's up to you. If you want to do that, that's fine. That's the beautiful thing about falconry. We do things differently. Doesn't mean one person's right and the other person's wrong. It just means there's a lot of variety because falconry takes place all over the globe. All right. With regards to pigeons, the reason I wanted to make this video is to share a little bit about pigeons, general keep, that type of a thing. Why I have them, why I use them. Now, with regards to falconry, we use pigeons oftentimes to trap our birds from the wild. I myself, I have a trapping video out there where I trapped a Cooper's hawk by using what I refer to as a harness pigeon. Check that video out. Some people like that. Okay, for trapping purposes, obviously this here is better to use for trapping. It's pretty self-explanatory. So I have the black pigeons that I use that I like to fly for entertainment. They just do better against predation. This here sticks out like a sore thumb. And depending what type of trapping method you're using, the white, especially on a sunny day when the wings really start flapping, that white will just bring attention. And we all know these birds of prey can see really, really good. They can see this bird from a long, long way away if we are going to be using them for trapping. I personally don't like to try to fly these birds free loft or homing back to the loft because they just draw in too much attention and they don't tend to make it for very long. Another area where raising pigeons or having pigeons really can help us in falconry is that stubborn bird or that lost bird. A real quick story: I had a very large female Saker falcon, and And the day I was flying her, and she was just starting to fly freely to the lure pretty good, but the day that I was flying that particular bird, she was just a little bit heavy, and the temperature of the day got a little bit warmer than what I was expecting. So I released the bird, and the bird kind of flew to the lure just a little bit, and then it went somewhere and sat. And I could not get that bird to come to my lure for anything. I did not have a live pigeon with me, but I promise you, if I would have had a pigeon with me that I could have hooked to a creance or some type of a line and had that pigeon flopping around on the ground, flying around, that Saker falcon that was being a little bit standoffish would have came in like a bomber and would have hit that pigeon, and I would have got my bird back rather than losing my bird and having to use radio telemetry in retrieving my bird the next day. I could have came home with my bird the same day. So whenever I fly falcons in questionable times, or a young falcon learning the lure process, I like to have a couple live pigeons with me, because during those times I have learned through experience, and that's the wonderful thing about falconry, is we learn from our mistakes and we learn from each other. And one of the things I have learned is bring that live pigeon with you, because if I have it with me and I have a stubborn bird, and it doesn't have to be a falcon, it can be any of the birds. I brought in a stubborn red-tailed hawk one time back when I was in the state of Wyoming, and I had a red-tailed hawk sitting on a cliff while we were rabbit hunting, and situations were just the way they were, and that red-tail didn't really want to come back down. Pull out the pigeon, boom, I got my bird back, not a problem. So another good reason for how falconry and the keeping of pigeons can blend and mesh together. I would like to get a little bit of feedback from you all out there, wherever you are. If you'd like to have me put together a little bit more information about keeping domesticated pigeons, maybe different flying practices. I'm not a guru, I'm not a racer, I've never been involved with formal racing homers. I've been around pigeons, like I said, all of my life. I do know some things, but if you would like to see more information about keeping pigeons in general, just put some kind of a comment there. Give me a little bit of feedback, because I would like to make a little bit more information about pigeons, pigeon husbandry, keeping pigeons, the use of pigeons with falconry, that type of a thing. But I'm not going to do it if no one really is going to be interested in it besides me, myself. My audience, of course, is the falconry community, and if within the falconry community, if there's not enough of you out there that really want to have any more information about the pigeons, I won't go through that process.